Welcome to The Explainer. So, you're hearing these terms everywhere, right? AI, machine learning, generative AI. But what do they all actually mean? Today, we are going to cut through all the jargon and show you exactly how these incredible technologies connect, starting right from the ground up. Yeah, it can feel like this alphabet soup of tech terms, and honestly, it can be kind of overwhelming. But I promise, by the end of this, you're going to have a super clear picture of how each of these ideas builds on the last. Let's dive in.
All right, so here's our game plan. We're going to start with the absolute foundation of everything, data. Then we'll layer on each new concept, from machines that learn to AI that can actually create new things, until you've got the whole picture.
Okay, so where do we even begin with all this? Well, before a machine can learn a single thing, we've got to talk about the human part of this whole equation, data science.
The key thing to remember here is that data science is all about people. It's the process of experts rolling up their sleeves, digging through raw information, and looking for those hidden patterns and insights that help us make smarter decisions.
And believe me, this isn't just random guesswork. No, it's a really structured process. You grab the raw data, you clean out all the messy stuff, you analyze it for trends, create some visuals to make sense of it all, and then, finally, you turn those discoveries into a real plan of action.
Let's make this real. Imagine you own an umbrella shop. A data scientist could look at your past sales and whip up a simple chart, just like this one, and bam, they would immediately spot the pattern. You sell a ton of umbrellas when it's rainy. Based on that insight, they'd tell you to stock up before the season hits. That's data science right there, turning numbers into a smart business move.
Now, that's a super useful insight, right? But it took a lot of human effort. So the big question is, what if we could automate that pattern finding process? And that question, well, it leads us directly to our next level up, machine learning.
With machine learning, or ML, the whole game just changes. Instead of a person staring at that sales chart, we feed all that historical data to a special computer program, what we call a model. You can think of this model as the brain that we're trying to train. The whole goal is to teach it to spot those patterns all by itself.
So the model crunches all that sales data and figures out the link between rainy seasons and high sales. But here's the real magic. It doesn't just analyze what happened in the past. It uses what it learned to actually predict the future. It can forecast how many umbrellas you're probably going to sell next January.
And you experience this in action every single day. Think about YouTube's recommendation engine. It's a classic example of machine learning. It studies what you watch to learn your tastes, and then it predicts other videos you're going to love, keeping you glued to the screen. It's prediction on a massive scale.
So, machine learning is awesome for predicting things from neat, tidy data. But what happens when the information isn't in a clean spreadsheet? What if it's something messy, like a photo, or your voice? To handle that kind of complexity, we have to go a level deeper. This is where deep learning comes in. You can really think of it as the next big evolution of machine learning. Its secret weapon? Something called neural networks. These are vast, interconnected systems that are actually inspired by our own brains. It's like having layers of virtual neurons working together to spot incredibly complex patterns. And this right here really nails the key difference. Your standard machine learning? It's perfect for structured stuff, like our umbrella sales numbers in a table. But deep learning? Oh, that's where it shines. It excels with all the messy, unstructured data. Things like recognizing a face in a photo or understanding a spoken command. And that ability, the power to process all this complex, real-time info, is exactly why deep learning is the engine behind technologies like self-driving cars. It has to constantly identify pedestrians, other cars, and traffic lights from a live video feed, a job that's way beyond what simple sales data could ever do. Okay, so we've talked about machine learning, we've talked about deep learning, and all of these things, they all live under one giant umbrella, artificial intelligence. AI isn't just one technique. It's the huge overarching goal of building machines that can think, reason, and make decisions like a person. And this visual just lays it out perfectly. Look, at the very center, you've got deep learning. That's the really advanced technique. That is a part of the bigger category of machine learning, and all of that falls under the main goal of artificial intelligence. See, they're not separate things, they're nested right inside each other. And here's where we see AI take that next crucial step. Think about a chess program. It uses all this learning to predict the outcomes of millions of possible moves. But then, and this is the key part, it goes further. It actually decides on the best move to make. It moves beyond just forecasting to making a strategic choice.
which is a huge part of what we consider intelligent.
Okay, so up to this point, we've talked about AI that can analyze, predict, and even make decisions. But just in the last couple of years, a totally new kind of AI has just exploded onto the scene, one that can actually create.
And this is a huge shift in what AI is for. Generative AI is trained on unbelievable amounts of human creativity. All the text on the internet, millions of images, you name it. But its goal isn't to predict what's next. Its goal is to use everything it's learned to generate something brand new, something that has literally never existed before.
So how does it work? Well, say you give an image generator a prompt. First, it breaks down your request. It gets the core ideas, cat, airplane, sky, because it recognizes those patterns from its training. And then it just masterfully weaves those separate ideas together into a single, cohesive, and totally original image. It's incredible.
All right, let's pull all of this together. If there is one thing you walk away with today, it's understanding the difference between the AI that predicts and the AI that creates.
So here it is, the big takeaway. On one side, you've got what we call predictive AI. That's our machine learning and deep learning. It looks at the past to answer the question, so what's going to happen next? But on the other side, you've got generative AI. It also learns from the past, but it answers a totally different question. Hey, make me something new. That's the fundamental split right there.
And that leaves us with a really fascinating, kind of mind-bending question for the future, doesn't it? For pretty much all of human history, prediction and creation were things we did. Now that AI can do both with more and more sophistication, our entire relationship with technology, and maybe even our definitions of creativity and intelligence, well, all of that is set to change in ways we're only just beginning to wrap our heads around.